Alright, what's good with y'all boys, man? I won't make this video too long, but I wanted to make this real quick before I go. Because a subscriber in my comment section asked me to make a video about weed and talking about weed. And I fuck with y'all, bro. Y'all my supporters that are before the fake supporters come in. Y'all the supporters that's supporting me right now before I start getting thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers. Y'all the ones that's really fucking with me right now. So I fuck with y'all on a different level. So if y'all got any questions, if y'all got anything y'all want to ask me, bro, I'm gonna try to get to y'all ASAP. You get what I'm saying? ASAP. So anyways, I want to talk about weed. This is a very, very kind of like interesting topic for me just because of the fact that weed is actually what elevated me into my spiritual journey. Like it actually jump started me into my spiritual journey, and I'm gonna break it down. Obviously when I first started smoking weed, I was just like everybody else, you know what I mean? I didn't really know anything about weed. I didn't know the different type of strands. I didn't know what a joint was, what a bowl was, what a bong was. I didn't understand any of that shit. I was just doing it, you know what I'm saying? I was with some homies. They was like, let's smoke. I was like, all right, bet, let's smoke. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how much to smoke. I didn't know none of that shit, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't have the right type of people around me to really break it down and explain it to me. They was just on some like let's smoke type shit, but they wasn't really breaking it down. Like looking back at it, I feel like they really should have broke it down. You know what I mean? It's my first time doing some shit. My nigga explained to me like what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But me just being young and naive and stupid, I was doing this shit. But anyways, bro. So weed really jump started me into my journey because I remember when I was in the moments of being high, it made me realize a lot of inner demons and stuff that I was suppressing. See, before I was who I am now, before I had the consciousness that I have now, there was a point in time where I felt like when I had anxiety and I was dealing with anxiety and I was dealing with a lot of depression and stuff like that, I just thought that that's how I was. I thought that, oh man, this is just how I am. Like I was just born like this, like it is what it is. Like there were times where I thought like, man, like, I'm gonna just be like this forever. Like I never thought that I was gonna step into this amount of consciousness that I have now. But weed is what made me separate my demons, my ego from me, and it made me separate my anxiety from me. It made me realize that anxiety is not a part of you. Anxiety is just something that it just kind of just consumes you, but it's not really a part of you. Like a lot of people are in the mindset of thinking that their anxiety is a part of them and this is how it is and they're gonna be like that forever. No, bro, your anxiety is just a phase that you're going through, that you're dealing with. And weed taught me that because I remember, bro, there were times that I would be high, bro, and we would all be sitting in the room and we would all be chilling. We would be sitting in the room and I would smoke, you know what I mean? We were smoking this and I'd be high and I'm just looking at people, bro. I'm just looking around at people. Like I'm just looking at people like, yo, like, you know, who, like, what am I doing here? Like, who, like, I don't even fuck with these niggas. Like, what am I doing here? Like, I would just be looking around like, who are these people type shit? You know what I mean? And I'm just looking at them and I like, niggas not gonna believe me, bro, but I low key, I felt like I was telepathic. Like, I felt like I could read these niggas' thoughts. Like, I was reading their thoughts and, you know, everything they was thinking, it was just like, I remember there was this one dude, he was in front of me and I was just staring at him. I was staring at this nigga hard as fuck. And I felt like I was reading his thoughts and everything that he was thinking in his mind was just something negative about me. Like it was just, I felt like it was just something negative. Like he was just like, oh, I don't really fuck with this dude. Why is this dude here? Like I was just getting all these negative thoughts. You know, also another thing that was really weird was like when I would be around people and shit like that, while I was high, it was almost like they facial expressions was different. Like usually, you know what I mean? Like they facial expressions was more like demonic. Like bro, I know it sounds weird. I know a lot of y'all gonna be like, what's this nigga talking about? But that's why I said, bro, this is chosen one talk. If you're not a chosen one, you're not even gonna understand where the fuck I'm coming from. You a bot. You probably smoke weed and you be happy as ever. But for the chosen ones, we have different experiences with different drugs. We have way different experiences. You know what I'm saying? So for me, weed was a very eye-opening thing. When I would be looking at niggas, they just had like these very kind of like, you know how like the Joker be smiling? You know what I mean? Like he be having that weird smile and it's like, yeah, he's smiling, but it's still, it's kind of like evil type shit. That's how these niggas was looking. It was like these niggas would make facial expressions, but the shit just kind of felt evil. Like it just felt demonic type shit. And like these niggas would I would always pay attention. Like they would be making like little comments to me while I was in the room, and it just kind of felt uneasy. Like it just felt off. But then when the high would go away and the high would fade off, everything was straight again. Like their facial expressions went back to normal. I wasn't overthinking their thoughts. Like everything, it just went back to normal, bruh. You know what I mean? And that's how I knew it was like, hold up, this is something from the weed. So obviously, you know, I went and I tried it again. And I tried it again and I tried it again. And I kept trying it, you know what I mean? And every single time I smoked weed, I experienced the same exact shit. You know what I'm saying? I smoked it. I smoked different type of ways. I did a joint. I smoked a bowl. Like I smoked it in different type of ways. I smoked different strands. Bro, every single time I experienced the same shit. It was just weird shit. So, you know, I was like, bro, something's up with me. Because how come everybody else, when they smoke weed, they just have a good ass time? Like they be vibing, listening to music, having a good ass time. But then when I smoke weed, I got to deal with this shit. I'm like, bro, like obviously it's something up with me. So that's what made me start looking into like information. That's what made me start looking into like my like the mind and what was up with my mind. Because I'm like, bro, this isn't cool. Like I want to enjoy this shit too. So that's what made me start going into my mind and dwelling within my mind. So I started doing my research, looking up information. I realized that I had demons that I hadn't faced. I had demons within me that I was neglecting, that I wasn't facing. I had a lot of anxiety. So what would happen is when I would smoke weed, the weed would enhance my anxiety and it would enhance my demons. And so basically I was self-reflecting myself. So when I was looking at these people and I was seeing their expressions on their faces, I was really looking at the demon within me. And that's also what made me realize that your reality is a reflection of how you feel within yourself. That's what really opened my eyes to that shit. And so, you know what I mean? I was just digging up research and realizing this shit. And I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. So I was like, okay, well, how do I change my energy? How do I fix my energy? How do I stop this shit? And so that's when I started finding out about like semen retention and stuff like that. So I got into semen retention, and then, you know what I mean? I went on semen retention. I started doing stuff like that, you know, and then eventually I smoked weed again. I didn't have the same problem. That shit, you know what I mean? I don't know. It just was a whole different atmosphere, you know what I mean, when I did it again. But I had to put in that inner work to get to that point. But you know what I mean? So me saying all that, I just wanted to let y'all know that I've had experiences with weed. I've dealt with weed. My experiences with weed is probably a lot different than y'all, and I understand that. But you gotta understand, man, as chosen ones, we go through different things. You get what I'm saying? You sometimes, bro, your spirit guides are gonna purposely manipulate situations for you because they don't want you to deal with certain shit. Like it could be your first time drinking alcohol, and your first time drinking alcohol, you could fucking just do some retarded, stupid shit, and it can make you never want to drink alcohol again. Understand, that's not a coincidence. That's on purpose. Your spirit guides have to make sure you don't get caught up in that bullshit. Because if you do, you'll get off your path, and your spirit guides have to make sure you don't get off your path. So when you do certain drugs and shit, as a chosen one, you're gonna have different experiences because your spirit guides have to make sure you don't get off your path. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said, bro, there are bots in this world who they could smoke weed all day, they could drink alcohol all day and keep on going with their lives. They don't feel no type of way about it. But as a chosen one, you can't, bro, because you have a purpose. Your mind has to stay clear. You get what I'm saying? Your mind has to stay clear. You're here to motivate millions of people. So you can't be on the same shit as the bots. It's impossible. It's not gonna happen. That's what I keep trying to tell y'all, man. It's not gonna happen. Your guides, the universe is not gonna let you be on the same type of shit as bots. It's just not. But besides that, let me really break down weed let me break down weed for y'all real quick, okay? Let me really break this shit down. Okay. Weed is a very, very spiritual drug in its essence. Weed is a very spiritual drug in its essence. You know what I'm saying? It comes from the earth. You have to remember that. It comes from the earth. Marijuana comes from the earth. So weed is one of those drugs where if you take it the right way and you do it the right way, and like you could sit there and fucking meditate on weed. You know what I mean? Like for example, you can meditate right now, right? But it would take you a while to get into that meditative state. When you smoke weed, that shit enhances like times 5. Like, you could get into the meditative state right away. If you really on your shit and you really doing what you got to do, you could jump into a meditative state literally ASAP when you high off weed. And so the thing is that the elites that run this shit, they understand that. They know this. So this is why they made weed illegal, because they had to, before they could make it legal, they had to figure out a way to manipulate it. Because a lot of y'all don't even realize that instead of y'all, like a lot of niggas was smoking weed as like a hobby. Y'all was just doing this shit as a hobby, doing this shit for fun. A lot of y'all don't even realize that if you would have smoked that weed and you would have, after you got high, you would have sat there and you would have meditated, my nigga, you would have already, bro, you would have stepped into consciousness fucking all, like, bro, you don't understand. You would have stepped into consciousness so much more easier, because weed, like I said, is connected to the earth. So when you smoke weed, it naturally brings you to like that earth state. And naturally, that's why you be feeling good about shit. That's why when you smoke weed and you be eating like foods and stuff, everything just tastes good. That's why when you smoke weed and you go outside, like the colors kind of seem brighter. Everything kind of seems brighter. It's not as strong as stuff like LSD. It's not as strong as like I said, things like LSD and shit. But weed will get you there. Weed will get you there if you really doing it the right way. So that's why, for the longest of time, they was locking niggas up for weed, because they didn't want y'all to know this. They didn't want y'all to fuck around and figure it out by accident. So what they did was they tried to scare y'all from doing it. They tried to scare y'all from smoking weed, but weed is a very, very spiritual drug in its essence. So now weed is becoming more legal. You know what I mean? Now you can go into dispensaries and stuff like that and you could buy weed. But that's not the same type of weed. That's not the weed that niggas was smoking years ago. The weed that they're making legal now, and the weed that they're bringing into the country now, it's not the same type of weed. This weed has been manipulated. This weed has been fucked with. The same way your food and stuff has been fucked with and manipulated, and they put certain drugs and shit in your food, it's the same thing with the weed. This weed has been manipulated and fucked with to make sure that, when you smoke it, you don't get to that state of I guess you could say, you don't get to that state of consciousness, to make sure that when you smoke it, you don't step into that state of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole reason that for years, my nigga, they was giving niggas charges. They was giving niggas like, you could go to jail for like fucking 5 years for selling weed on some shit. That's why I'm letting y'all know, that's why they was doing that, bro. They was doing that because of the fact that y'all didn't even realize when y'all was smoking this shit. I mean, y'all knew, but y'all just thought like, oh man, weed is just fun. Like, this shit is just fun. But y'all didn't realize, like, my nigga, that shit could get you to like that consciousness level. Like, if you were to smoke weed and then you were to meditate, and then the next day you smoke weed and you were to meditate, you could literally master meditating through weed. You could master meditating through smoking weed. Now, I wouldn't recommend it, because then you wouldn't know how to meditate while you sober. But still, you could master certain conscious techniques through drugs. This is why people do like LSD. This is why people do stuff like that, to get them into a certain state of spirituality. That's why they call them spiritual drugs. You know what I mean? Because you can step into a whole realm of spirituality fucking around with these drugs. Now, obviously, you got to be safe about it. Do your research about it. You know what I mean? Make sure that you know what you're doing before you do it. But the point is that weed is one of those drugs. So when I smoked, so my whole point of telling y'all that story was, when I had smoked weed, that shit brought me into a whole new spiritual, that shit just made me look at life totally different. Like, it made me realize that, everything around you and everybody around you is a reflection of you. So essentially, if you don't like the people around you, you have to change yourself. If you want those people to get away from you, you have to change yourself. Why you think that when you start leveling up in life, niggas start kind of leaving you? Think about that shit. Why you think when you start leveling up in life, your old friends that you used to have, they loved you when you was on that bullshit. They loved you when you was ignorant and you was on that bullshit and you was always clowning and making jokes and not taking life seriously. But when you started going on, getting on your shit, you started doing semen retention, you started working out, you started taking care of yourself. Now all of a sudden they don't want to hang out with you. Now all of a sudden they don't want to be around you, because you leveled up. You leveled up your consciousness. So now the universe has to change your reality. So it has to get your old friends that was on some bullshit, it has to take them away from you. But in the physical realm, it could be some shit like y'all could fall out over a girl, or y'all could fall out over some money or some shit. But spiritually, what's happening is the universe is separating you. The universe is separating you from, it's changing your reality. Because you were on that bullshit, but now you're not. Therefore, you cannot have this reality around you anymore. So the universe has to separate you from the bullshit. And then that's when you start making more friends. And the new friends that you make are on your same frequency. I'm trying to tell you, bro. I'm trying to tell you, man. But a lot of y'all look at this shit so physical, and y'all be like, oh man, my friends switched up on me. Oh man, my friends, they don't fuck with me no more. Oh man, I didn't do nothing. All I did was get money, and now they acting funny. I'm telling y'all what's happening. They acted funny on purpose. They acted funny on purpose. The universe is purposely orchestrating them to do that shit to get them away from you. Your energy is changing. You can't be around them. You can't be around them. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what weed made me realize. Smoking weed made me realize that, bro, you know what I mean? If I like all these niggas around me are just like a reflection of me. They're all like different pieces of my personality. That's why when I be looking at them, I just be seeing like real, like weird faces. But when they smoke weed in their head, they're experiencing something totally different. Because we in two totally different mindsets, and everybody that's around me is just a piece of my personality. So I'm like, if I want to get these niggas away from me, I gotta change myself. And needless to say, I don't hang them niggas I smoked weed with in the past. I don't hang out with none of them no more, bro. I ain't got none of them around me no more. You know what I'm saying? You see how that shit work? But anyways, man, I've been talking too much. I know I said I was going to keep this video short, but I got into it, bro. I got into it because, like I said, this is one of those topics where I could talk about this shit all day. I've had so many experiences with smoking weed and stuff like that, and so I could talk about this shit all day. Anyways, man, you know what I mean? I'm gonna give y'all the update tomorrow when we make it to day 3, and I'm gonna catch y'all later. We out.